So if you walk into a casino, right, and you drop $1,000 on a roulette table, the thrill of that is, well, it's entirely in the gamble.
Oh, absolutely.
You've got the flashing lights, the sound of the ball bouncing around. It's that sheer adrenaline of just, not knowing what's going to happen next.
Right, it's a rush.
Yeah. But if you take that exact same scenario and you apply it to a business owner's digital marketing budget,
Oh, no.
just blindly throwing capital at the internet and hoping for a return, I mean, that thrill completely vanishes. It's not exciting anymore. It is just terrifying.
Because an unpredictable outcome is only fun when your livelihood isn't attached to it.
Exactly.
I mean, when it's your actual business on the line, an algorithmic roll of the dice isn't a game. It's an existential threat.
Hey.
You don't want luck in that scenario. You want a blueprint.
Which is honestly the perfect jumping off point for today.
Well,
so welcome to today's deep dive. We've got our hands on a truly fascinating stack of source material for you.
Yeah, this one is really dense in the best way.
It really is. We are looking at the complete website copy, the service playbook, and basically the operational philosophy of local management.
They're an award-winning digital marketing agency based down in Boca Raton, Florida.
Right. And our mission for this deep dive is not to just, read through their corporate brochure.
No, nobody wants that.
We are here to reverse engineer how a modern, highly successful agency actually builds that blueprint you mentioned.
Yeah, we want to move past all the glossy marketing language and examine the underlying mechanics. Like, how are they structurally taking businesses, as they put it, from local to global?
Okay, let's unpack this, because the core promise of their playbook, the hook they use to immediately disarm prospective clients, is the absolute eradication of chance.
It is a huge claim to make.
It's massive. They state right up front, and I quote, investing in digital marketing for your business can be scary. So they validate the fear, right? But then they follow it up with a hard promise. They say, we never gamble with your business.
It's a very deliberate positioning statement. I mean, they're establishing a central thesis here that marketing has to shift entirely away from this perception of a dark art.
Right, we're just hoping for a lucky viral moment.
Exactly. They argue it has to be a quantifiable mechanical science. But what makes this specific source material so compelling to analyze is their dual mandate.
The contradiction.
Yeah, right. They are promising cold, hard, uncompromising data analysis. But they're simultaneously demanding a deeply emotional, highly authentic human connection with the audience.
Which sounds like trying to mix oil and water, honestly. I mean, how do you systematize human emotion?
The million-dollar question.
Yeah. So to understand the mechanics of how they actually pull that off, we really have to start with how they eliminate that gambling problem in the first place.
Because when a business just throws ad spend at search engines without understanding the platform, they're essentially playing the slots.
Exactly. So structurally, how does local management engineer the risk out of the equation?
Well, they deploy this rigid, uncompromising four-step methodology. They actually state verbatim that there are no shortcuts to successful digital marketing.
None at all.
Right. Now, the steps themselves, research, strategy, execution, and analyze and adjust, they might sound like, standard operational phases.
Sure. Pretty typical agency stuff.
Yeah, but it's the underlying mechanism of how they execute them that removes the gamble. Their philosophy for the research phase is this phrase: to know is to deliver.
Okay.
And they operate on the absolute rule that no data is insignificant.
Let's drill into that for a second. No data is insignificant. What does that practically look like when they are, building an actual strategy?
It means they are tracking microscopic user behaviors before they even think about drafting a campaign.
Right.
Like, they aren't just looking at basic demographics like age and location.
Right. It's not just 18 to 35 in Florida.
No, not at all. They are analyzing behavioral footprints. How long users hover over specific elements on a page. The predictive search intent of a localized area like Boca Raton. Yeah, even the historical conversion rates of specific color palettes on mobile devices versus desktop.
That is wild.
By gathering thousands of seemingly insignificant data points, they build a predictive computational model. I mean, a gambler acts on a gut feeling. A data scientist acts on a model.
It really makes me think of the difference between buying a suit off the rack versus having one custom tailored.
Oh, for sure.
But taking it a step further, it isn't just a tailor using a standard measuring tape. What this agency is describing is like putting the client into a 3D laser scanner.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
They are mapping every single contour, every strength, and every vulnerability of the business landscape before they cut a single piece of fabric. They explicitly say, we never copy and paste any marketing or advertising strategy.
That is a highly accurate analogy, because if the 3D scan, like the data model from the research phase, is flawed, the suit is going to look terrible when you actually stitch it together.
Right, it won't fit at all.
Exactly. That is why they refuse to move to step 3, execution, which they enthusiastically call start the show, until the structural integrity of the data is completely verified.
And once the show starts, they don't just walk away. Like, the real secret sauce here is step 4, the analyze and adjust phase.
What's fascinating here is how they actively reframe the concept of a business plateau.
Yeah, I loved this part.
It is a psychological masterstroke. They ask this almost provocative question in their playbook.
Yeah.
They say, why would you want a plateau when you can still reach new heights?
Right.
They treat digital marketing not as a project with a set end date, but as an ongoing infinite feedback loop.
Because the internet never stops. I mean, the algorithms update daily, consumer trends pivot overnight.
Exactly. The mechanism of a feedback loop means that when a campaign's performance inevitably dips, it doesn't trigger a panic.
It's expected.
Right. A drop in engagement isn't viewed as a failure. It is simply new behavioral data entering the system. It's a mechanical signal to adjust the strategy.
It's an incredibly proactive way to manage a client's anxiety, honestly, because the blueprint accounts for algorithmic shifts.
Absolutely.
So it's safe, it's effective, and it is highly rigorous. But, and this is a massive but for you listening, while strict data pipelines and formulas sound great for mitigating risk, they run a massive counter risk.
I do.
They risk sounding incredibly cold. If you treat customers purely as computational data points, you strip away their humanity.
Which is the trap so many agencies fall into.
Exactly. Which brings me to something I genuinely struggled with when reading this playbook.
The defining tension of modern marketing.
Yeah.
Moving from the cold certainty of the data into the messy reality of human behavior.
Here's where it gets really interesting. I'm sorry, but I have to call a timeout here because I'm looking at a glaring contradiction in their own pitch.
Go for it.
Right at the very top of their site, in bold lettering, they proudly declare themselves an AI-driven online marketing platform. They are leaning as hard as possible into artificial intelligence. But then I scroll down to a section literally titled We Avoid, and they explicitly list pushy AI-looking stories.
Yeah, the irony is thick.
And then they double down in a section called The Human Element, warning that businesses will lose out on this connection with AI and auto-generated content. I mean, you cannot claim to be an AI-driven platform and then demonize auto-generated content in the next breath.
It does seem completely backward.
How are they not just playing both sides of the fence to appease everyone?
It absolutely looks like a paradox on the surface. But if we connect this to the bigger picture, it reveals a highly sophisticated approach to modern technology.
Okay, I'm listening.
What the source material is detailing is a strict, specialized division of labor between the machine and the human.
How so?
Well, AI is not the creative director in their system, it is the targeting engine.
Okay, walk me through that mechanism. How are they separating the two?
Think back to the research phase and all those microscopic data points we talked about. No human can process millions of behavioral signals in real time to find out exactly where your ideal audience is hiding online.
Right, it's impossible.
Exactly. AI is the computational muscle. It processes the data harvest, maps the digital terrain, and identifies the exact geographic clusters and psychological intent of prospective buyers.
Oh, I see.
The AI builds the stage and finds the audience.
So the AI is the delivery mechanism, not the message itself. It's like a heat-seeking missile.
Oh, that's good.
The AI is the algorithmic guidance system locking onto the exact right behavioral target. But the human storytelling, like the actual creative content, is the payload.
That is a brilliant way to conceptualize it. The AI navigates the incredibly complex algorithmic airspace, ensuring the missile hits the exact right demographic at the exact right micro-moment of intent.
Right.
But if the payload inside that missile is a hollow, auto-generated robotic script, it will not make an impact. It'll just bounce off the target.
It's a dud.
Exactly. Local management explicitly states in their playbook that they understand human emotions and feelings, and they promise to draw emotions from your audience with your stories.
The psychology of that makes total sense. I mean, we have all experienced that friction. You are scrolling through your feed, and you see a post or an ad, and you instantly know a large language model wrote it.
Oh, immediately. You can just feel it.
It feels uncanny. It feels pushy, just like they said in their We Avoid list.
Yep.
Your psychological spam filter goes up, and you instantly scroll past it.
Yep.
So the targeting guidance system worked perfectly to put it in your feed, but the payload failed.
Because it lacks authenticity.
Yeah.
And authenticity is the only currency that actually converts in a high-noise environment.
Right.
What this agency is arguing fundamentally is that data and AI get you to the right audience efficiently and cost-effectively. It stops the bleeding of wasted ad spend.
Which is huge.
But only human authenticity actually transforms that audience from passive viewers into active customers.
Which perfectly resolves the contradiction. You need the machine to build the stage, but you need a human to actually put on the show.
Precisely. And that careful balance is exactly how they avoid being purely about the money or using short-term strategies, which, by the way, are two other things they explicitly list in their We Avoid section.
Oh, really? That's interesting.
Yeah. A purely AI-generated content strategy is a short-term play. It might generate a temporary spike in visibility, but it ultimately burns out the audience's trust. A human-driven story, guided by AI targeting, builds sustainable long-term growth.
Okay, so now that we understand the mechanics of how they load a human-crafted payload into an AI-driven guidance system, how do they actually launch it?
Right, the tactical deployment.
Exactly. Because the scope of their tactics in this playbook is vast. They position themselves as a full-range agency. They offer the foundational pillars that you would expect, like web design, content marketing, email marketing, standard search engine optimization.
Yeah, bread and butter.
But they also list highly specialized, forward-looking services in their menu, things like AEO and GEO.
Those are critical inclusions. They show an agency adapting to the bleeding edge of how information is retrieved today.
Look, I think anyone listening to this deep dive is very familiar with standard SEO. You know, optimizing a website with keywords so it ranks higher on Google.
Right.
But break down the mechanics of AEO and GEO for us. Like, how do those actually work?
Okay, so GEO stands for Generative Engine Optimization, and AEO is Answer Engine Optimization.
Generative Engine Optimization.
Yeah.
Okay.
And this represents a massive mechanical shift in visibility. Traditional SEO is about convincing a search algorithm to rank your blue link on a page of search results. You want the user to click your link and visit your site.
Right, the classic 10 blue links.
Exactly. But AI-driven answer engines like ChatGPT, Perplexity, or Google's AI overviews, they do not give you a list of links.
No, they don't.
They read the internet, synthesize the information, and generate a direct conversational answer right there on the screen.
Right, they just tell you the answer. So how do you optimize for a machine that is basically reading the internet and summarizing it for the user? I mean, you can't just stuff a page with keywords anymore.
Exactly. You have to fundamentally change your data structure. Generative engine optimization requires you to structure your site's data semantically.
Meaning what exactly?
Meaning you format the information so that an AI's large language model considers your business the primary authoritative source of truth. You are no longer optimizing for a human to click a link. You are optimizing for an AI's training model to cite you as the definitive answer in its generated paragraph.
That completely changes the playing field. It's not about being the brightest neon sign on the digital highway anymore. It's about being the foundational map that the GPS relies on to give directions.
Exactly.
Which actually circles back to how they handle metrics and measurement. In their FAQ section, the agency deliberately spells out industry abbreviations like ROI, ROAS, and PPC.
Return on investment, return on ad spend, and pay per click.
Right. Now, anyone listening to a deep dive on marketing already knows what those stand for.
For sure.
At first glance, I honestly thought they were just padding the page with basic definitions. But why would an agency capable of executing advanced generative engine optimization dedicate valuable website space to defining elementary terms?
Because they aren't defining them to educate the client.
Hmm.
No, they are defining them to weaponize them against vanity metrics. They are drawing a very aggressive line in the sand regarding what constitutes success.
Wow. Okay.
By establishing ROI and ROAS as the absolute baseline, they are creating a filter. If a tactical deployment doesn't ultimately serve these specific revenue-driven metrics, the algorithm discards it.
It is a defense mechanism against bad data, which perfectly sets up one of their boldest claims.
The every lead matters part.
Yes. Under a heading that says every lead matters, they take a direct, unapologetic shot at the rest of the industry.
They really do.
They criticize competing agencies that celebrate launching campaigns that bring in leads that, and I quote, do not truly affect your business. Local management promises to filter the pipeline so heavily that they only focus on leads that translate to sales.
This raises an important question for anyone trying to build a business or a brand today. What is the fundamental mechanical difference between traffic and traction?
Oh, I love that framing. Traffic versus traction. Break that down for us.
Well, in a digital environment where attention can be algorithmically manipulated, traffic is surprisingly easy to buy or manufacture.
Oh yeah, you can just buy bot clicks.
Right? You can optimize a campaign for cheap clicks, or you can optimize for fleeting views. That is traffic. It is noise. But traction, which is actual sustainable business growth and revenue, that requires a completely different mechanical approach to the data.
It's the difference between throwing a massive open bar party in a giant stadium versus hosting a highly curated invite-only VIP dinner.
That is the perfect way to look at it.
Right, like, sure, you packed the stadium, millions of people showed up because the barrier to entry was zero. The vanity metrics look incredible on a spreadsheet.
The traffic is off the charts.
Exactly. But when the night is over, no one bought your product, no one remembered your brand story, and you basically just bankrupted your marketing budget to entertain total strangers. You had immense traffic, but zero traction.
And traction relies entirely on retention. The source material emphasizes this repeatedly. They state, we keep the customers coming for more. We're never a one-time fluke.
Yeah.
By utilizing their AI guidance system to filter out the noise of the vanity metrics and deploying their human payload to build authentic trust, they are engineering long-term loyalty. A fluke is unpredictable.
It's a gamble.
Right. A fluke is a gamble. Their entire mechanical structure is designed from the ground up to reject the fluke.
Which also explains why they are so adamant about clarifying the distinction between social media marketing and digital marketing in that same FAQ section.
That's a huge point.
They note that many businesses mistakenly believe social media is the entirety of their online presence.
It's a critical boundary to draw for expectation management. Social media is just one tactical spoke in a much larger wheel.
Right.
If you only focus on going viral on a social platform, you are incredibly susceptible to that stadium party problem you just described. True digital marketing integrates the social media spoke with the website hosting, the email retention loops, and the generative engine optimization to create a closed ecosystem.
An ecosystem that actually captures the traffic and converts it into traction.
Precisely.
So every single choice, from the localized search targeting in Boca Raton to the emotional resonance of the ad copy, it's all pulling in the exact same direction.
And it ultimately culminates in how they view the modern world.
Yeah.
They have a quote in the source material that sums up their entire operational worldview, and honestly, it is actually quite profound.
What's the quote?
They declare, the entire world is a stage, and that stage is online today.
It is undeniably true. Whether you are a local mom and pop shop or a massive global corporation, your storefront is your website. Your reputation is your search engine ranking. The stage really is entirely online.
It really is.
So, what does this all mean? What is the ultimate takeaway for you listening to this deep dive right now?
Yeah, how does this apply to you?
Exactly, because whether you are a founder trying to scale an enterprise or honestly, simply an individual navigating the web every day, this playbook exposes the hidden architecture of the internet.
The blueprint behind the scenes.
Right. It proves that behind every meaningful, resonant interaction you have with a brand online, there's no magic. There is no gambling. Instead, there is an incredibly deliberate mechanical process.
It's science.
It is a seamless integration of ruthless, predictive data analysis designed to find you, and empathetic, authentic human storytelling designed to connect with you. Agencies like local management are treating the digital landscape not as a casino, but as a highly calibrated laboratory where computational science and human creativity intersect.
They're essentially engineering serendipity. But if we take this agency's vision of the future to its logical, absolute extreme, it leaves us with something deeply fascinating to think about.
Oh, where are we going with this?
Well, if the entire world is a digital stage, and every local and global business eventually adopts this level of mechanical perfection.
Right.
If AI targeting becomes flawlessly efficient at placing the exact right emotional payload in front of the exact right user at the exact perfect micro moment of intent, ensuring that truly no data is insignificant. What happens to the concept of organic discovery?
Oh, wow.
In a future where our entire digital experience is meticulously managed to ensure guaranteed frictionless conversions, will an unoptimized, purely accidental online discovery, just stumbling across something wonderfully obscure and completely untargeted, will that eventually become the ultimate luxury?
A perfectly curated digital universe where the only thing we actually find ourselves craving is the thrill of the unknown gamble. I love that. We'll leave you to mull that over. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.